the CMF phone. This is something that I covered in my previous video on my channel, so thank you to the 3 people that actually watched that video, by the way. I did put a whole lot of effort into it, and so I thoroughly appreciate those of you that tuned in. The CMF phone, however, is something that I continuously appraised for being an absolutely amazing device at the price point it sells at. I got this one for a grand total of £170 while on offer, but the base model that I'm showing here usually sells for about £200 while, not on offer. This thing is absolutely fantastic, with some very good specs on both the internals and externals, with a hugely charming design that allows you to change the entire back of the phone itself. Of course, with these aspects, there are a few downsides that you don't have to go searching for in order to see. Because of the interchangeable back, water and dust resistance isn't exactly the greatest it could be. More often than not, you'd be okay, as the screen side would be facing upwards and would take the brunt of the force that rain may give, but for some more wet climates and environments, or if you're one of those weirdos that just goes to a swimming pool or fills up your sink and just dips your phone into it over and over, might not be the greatest. Because of this whole design as well, there is also no NFC chip. This was obviously a cost-effective and space-saving method to try and really make sure this whole customization thing worked, but this does mean that for someone that likes to regularly use their phone to pay for things with Google Pay, then maybe this specific device just wasn't for you. What I'm trying to say is that this phone, while fantastic for what it is, definitely has some glaring drawbacks that make it unsuitable for some people, and fair enough, that's the beauty of what Android phones are. There are tons of phones with different qualities and features that may suit a specific type of person, and on the other side, there are tons of other devices that may suit the other. With a bit of research on what you want out of an Android device, you're pretty much bound to find something that suits your specific tastes. In any market, whether it be budget, mid-range, or flagship. If, for instance, you like cameras, maybe something like the Xiaomi 15 Ultra or the Vivo 200X Pro might be for you. If you, like myself, live in a country where these phones aren't exactly the easiest to acquire, maybe the Samsung S25 Ultra or the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL might be for you. The AI features that those phones have, as well as the cameras themselves, can make phones look incredible. With the 100 times zoom, with the 10 times optical zoom, with the 200 megapixel rear camera, is crazy on the S25 Ultra. Makes that an absolute machine for photography. I am getting sidetracked, however. This isn't about them specific phones or their specialized attributes, as you can probably easily tell from the title and so far the contents of this video. This video is about the newly announced and soon to be released phone, the CMF Phone 2 Pro. The CMF Phone 2 Pro was announced just a few days ago on the 20th of April 2025 and shows off a whole host of new features that just look fantastic. I just want to preface again that I'm not sponsored by nothing or CMF in any way. I just love their devices. Carpe, once again, please sponsor me. I will love you forever. I mean, I already do, but please. I am recording this section on the 1st of May, and they begin shipping on the 5th, so please bear with me here on some of the details. Some of them might not be correlated correctly, or other stuff like that, I am a complete idiot after all, and so that is, fairly normal for me. I do plan on doing an unboxing later in this video once it arrives, but until then, you're going to have to enjoy me rambling about it. The CMF Phone 2 Pro, while different from the first iteration in a number of ways, is also very clearly related to its older brother. Just for the sake of ease, I am going to keep referring to the Phone 2 as the Phone 2 and not the CMF Phone 2 Pro. There is only one model at this point, so there really shouldn't be any confusion. The Phone 2 has a decent range of colours, just like the Phone 1, such as the black, orange and light green colours that the Phone 1 also comes in, but this time, however, they have added a white colour as an option. The backs of these phones, as far as I'm aware, and I'm 100% almost guaranteeing, are still plastic, but with some of the colours having this weird sort of pseudo-glass finish to them, which look okay on camera, but apparently not as great in person. I imagine that this is subjective, however. The orange, once again, is the best looking colour in the lineup, with this cool double finish design on the back. The white colour also has this, but from the images I've seen, it looks to be a slightly different finish on the bottom portion of the back, but I guess we'll find out. It still does look incredibly unique though, and so I still very much like it. The main question that might be on all of your minds right now though is a fairly simple one at that. Can the back still be removed and replaced? Unfortunately, to my knowledge, that feature has been removed in favour of a different system that we will talk about shortly. I do think that this was a weird move to make, as this was the main driving feature of the Phone 1 that gave it a lot of identity and what helped me fall in love with it in the first place. It was a really neat system that added a sense of weird repairability to your phone, so in the case you dropped it and you cracked the back, you could just unscrew the screws, take them off, pay 30 quid for a new one, and slap that on. You could get the same colour as well, so it wouldn't even look different. Like, it was incredible. You didn't have to send your phone in to get it repaired or whatever. Like, it was such a cool system. I do personally feel that should have been explored more, but I can see why it was removed with the, the new features and whatnot that they've added. Doesn't mean it's all bad, but because of this change, as I say, there are cool new things that they have put in that weren't present in this, such as an NFC chip. That has finally been fitted in the back of the phone too, allowing users to finally get that Google Pay experience that they want. This also means that the IP rating has been increased to IP54 over the Phone 1's IP52. This is probably due to the fact that all the sides of the phone can now be more protected, as there isn't a huge exposed back now with like some small gaps in the trim. I imagine that is probably a lot better. This does mean that the colour you buy the phone in is now the colour you will be stuck with. With the Phone 1, I bought it in black, as you can see here. I only got it in black because I'm pretty sure you can't actually buy the black colour from like from their official store, so I thought it would be a nice colour to have considering you can't buy it. I have now gone with the Phone 2 in orange because, I might as well just get it in the colour I actually want. If, however, you were one of those people that were waiting for the Phone 2 to sort of get the updated specs as well as that removable back design, yeah, it does suck that that's not there, but honestly, just get this. It's still an absolutely class phone, and despite having a Phone 2 on order, I will still go back and use this. I will still use this phone, like over the Phone 2 for a month or so or whatever at a time. I just love the overall feel and design this phone has. The screen on the Phone 2 has also been slightly changed, being 0.1 inches bigger than its predecessor, and in my experience, 0.1 inches is more than anyone will ever need. The brightness on the Phone 2 also comes in at 3000 nits peak brightness instead of the Phone 1's 2000. This difference may not be the biggest improvement, and you may not notice it when it's inside and at night, but you will definitely notice a difference if you're using this and it's extremely bright out. The bezels have also been made a lot more even, being completely even around the edges on the Phone 2, unlike the Phone 1. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I notice it now ever since it was pointed out to me, but the bottom bezel is ever so slightly thicker than the side and top bezels. For some reason, I have found that it is extremely expensive to sort of slim this bottom bezel down. I don't know why, but it is, so that's why it's a little thicker on this, but it's nice to see that it has been fixed in the Phone 2. Gives it that much more premium feel, in my opinion. The screen on the Phone 1 also uses Gorilla Glass 5 as its screen protection, which has now been changed on the Phone 2 to Panda Glass. This is a sort of alternative, and from my research, it turns out that Gorilla Glass 5 actually has a little bit more protection than Panda Glass, but until we sort of get this phone out in the public, we won't be able to see what the major differences are. The only major downside to the screen is that the resolution is ever so slightly lower on the Phone 2. With the bigger screen size and the sort of shorter bezels, that does mean a slightly lower sort of PPI, but you're not really going to notice it. The resolution on this phone is 1080 by 2400, a nice rounded off number, but the resolution on the Phone 2 sits at 1080 by 2392. You're barely going to notice that, like that's not really different. The upside to this, however, is that the slightly lower resolution might give you that a little bit extra battery life in the long run. Speaking of the battery, the Phone 2 also sits at a nice 5000 mAh, which is the same as the Phone 1, but with a more efficient screen and operating system paired with it being a newer device, this should make the battery last a fair bit longer than the battery in the Phone 1. They both charge at 33 watts wired, with 5 watts reverse wired charging, which is a fairly decent amount for a budget device, if I'm honest. Not super fast, mind you, when compared to some more mid-range or flagship devices, but honestly more than ample enough for the average user. This will probably last you, this phone does, but the Phone 2 will probably last you throughout the entire day, and so you just whack it on a charge at night and you wake up and it's charged. It's not really going to make a huge difference. The Phone 2 also gets Nothing OS 3.2 out of the box. This means that the phone is built for sort of Android 15 and so is decently feature heavy, with brand new AI features from Google and whatnot. The Phone 1 still gets this via updates, however, so it's not a huge upgrade point. Because the Phone 2 is a year newer, however, this does mean that you will get an extra year of both Android and security updates, sitting at 3 years on Android updates and 6 years of security updates. You know, not great when compared to some mid-range or flagship devices with their 6 or 7 years, but that's fairly par for the course with budget phones overall, so, you know, not too bad. Now, those of you that saw the back of the Phone 2 may have noticed another huge change that has been included, that being its cameras. Now, bear in mind that these cameras are still present on a budget device, and so if it is pure quality you're after, try looking at the phones we mentioned at the start of this video. For budget cameras, however, the Phone 2 cameras are shaping up to pretty much be the best in category. The camera on the Phone 1 was absolutely fine for what it was, with the bottom one being the main camera and the top one being a sort of assisting camera with sort of depth and whatnot. You know, it wasn't a proper camera you could take pictures with. You know, it was perfectly serviceable, and I have taken more than enough good pictures on this. You know, like for a budget phone, the camera on this is pretty phenomenal. This, however, has been changed in the Phone 2, with the Phone 2's main camera still using the same Sony 50 megapixel camera, but another 50 megapixel telephoto camera has been added, with an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera. The Phone 1 also only had a 10 times digital zoom, with the Phone 2 now featuring a 20 times digital zoom with a 2 times optical zoom. Pretty neat. The camera software has also been hugely improved over the Phone 1, with their TrueLens Engine 3 allowing for much more vibrant and deep looking photos. Seriously, check out the comparisons between the Phone 1 and 2's photos. It is genuinely night and day in some of them. It's astounding how far the camera tech in this budget line has come in under a year. You know, it's crazy. The chipset has also been slightly upgraded in the Phone 2. It still uses the same MediaTek Dimensity 7300 chip, but now uses the Pro variant instead. This has the same 2.5 GHz 8-core system that the non-Pro uses, but has an increased Antutu score of just under 40,000, with the Phone 1 sitting at 673,000, with the Phone 2 sitting at a very respectable 711,907. This means that the gaming performance is going to be even better than the Phone 1, while not putting much more stress on the system itself and the battery. The performance mode that the Phone 1 has while gaming is also present on the Phone 2, should you really want to maximise that gaming performance. This is a pretty decent upgrade, all things considered. I know it isn't quite like getting a new generation of Snapdragon 8 chip every year, but this is still a very sizable upgrade for the phone that costs a fifth of what the flagships cost. The Phone 2 is actually a little bit lighter than the Phone 1, only coming in at 185 grams compared to the Phone 1's 197 grams or 202 grams with the vegan leather back option. I imagine that this has something to do with the fact that they don't have to put much into protecting the components at the rear, as the back is no longer interchangeable, but then again, I don't have the slightest clue. The Phone 2 still has the option for expandable storage, up to 2 TB, so if you're like me, just get the cheaper variant with the 128GB of storage and save yourself 30 quid, and spend that 30 quid on like a 512GB SD card. You know, you're going to get more storage in this for the same price as the more like storage model. It works fantastically on this, and so I imagine it will be a fairly similar experience for the Phone 2. The astute of you out there may have actually noticed an extra button on the phone, other than the power button and the volume buttons, of course. Under the power button on the Phone 2, there is actually a little button here, known as the Essential key. This little doohickey does some weirdly wonderful things, basically allowing you to press it and take screenshots which can then get analysed by AI, which you can then add notes to, or allow you to take a picture of, say, a park near your house that you've searched on Google or something like that, and then get it to scan the image for context and then remind you in 3 days to walk the dog there, for example. It honestly seems to have tons of uses that honestly look pretty cool, and for someone that is forgetful like myself with my incredible amounts of ADHD, that will be an extremely useful system. I believe this system isn't exactly new, however, as it is present on some of the newer Nothing phones like the 3A and the 3A Pro, but I'm glad it has made its way to its budget line as well. It's nice to know that budget phones are finally starting to get all of the AI features that mid-range and flagships are having. While it's not as top-notch as those, the fact that it's still there and usable is just fantastic. Now, before we end this segment, let's talk about the alternative customization features that are present here on the Phone 2. As we know with the Phone 1, you had the option to remove the entire back of the phone by removing the small screws shown here, as well as this large rotary dial here. This was an absolutely fantastic feature that really sold this device to me, and whenever I use this phone, I often change back to a different colour every other week or so. It was a refreshingly unique experience that filled me with a sense of dopamine while changing this, as opening a new device. It was a really good way to circumvent the cheap feeling exterior by allowing you full control of what it looked like. You could also utilise a series of attachments for the phone, such as a kickstand, a card holder, or a lanyard, all of which screwed directly onto the back of the phone itself. It was a really cool feature. I only invested in the kickstand, but it was pretty cool before it broke. After all, it is just a thin sheet of cheap plastic, so don't expect the most durability out of it. The major downside to this system, however, is that you could only have one or two of the attachments present at a time. You could either have the lanyard or the card holder, or perhaps replace the lanyard with the kickstand. The card holder was sort of fine because it screwed directly into these screws and left this sort of open for the kickstand or the lanyard, but you couldn't have both the lanyard or the kickstand. You know, you had to sort of sacrifice something. It was a great system that many people took advantage of. The other major downside, other than the plastic material, was that all the attachments were in the neon orange colour that you could get for the phone itself. So if you're like me and purchased any other colour because you thought you could just buy the orange at a later date, you know, you're going to have a bit of a hard time. The orange colour is extremely hard to acquire. It is never in stock, even when I check every week or so. And even with the phone 2 on pre-order and imminent release, I still can't get an orange back for this. If it doesn't bother you though, having different colours, then it shouldn't be too bad. Overall, it was a pretty decent system, and a very welcome inclusion for a device that cost me less than £200. The Phone 2 uses a very different system, however. You can still remove the screws on the back of this device, but this is now so you can fit what is known as the universal cover. This is a sort of extension that takes up the entirety of the back of the phone. Personally, I don't think it looks all that great. This is because, like the attachments, it only comes in a single colour, this time being white. So if you get the orange phone, because it's the best colour, and you obviously can't change it, you have to cover most of it with a completely different colour in order to use 90% of the attachments for this phone. It also does stick out a little bit, increasing the thickness of this phone. The attachments are also still only available in orange, so if you want to use any of the attachments, you have to put up with odd colours to have any sense of customization. Unless you plan on using the lanyard only, you know, I believe that still just screws into the dial on the back, so you can just have that without the universal cover. It is actually kind of cool, however. It has a MagSafe section on the back, so you can attach a number of things, including the official card holder and kickstand. This means that you can have the card holder, a kickstand, and the lanyard all at the same time. There is a glaring downside to this, however. If you're someone like me and don't really care how careful you pull your phone out of your pocket, you just pull it out. This means that your card holder and kickstand could potentially fall off the phone as it sort of grazes against your pocket. And that's not really great, especially if you're putting it in your pocket and it sort of slips out and falls onto the floor. That could happen, and it's just annoying. The Phone 1 never really had this problem, as it simply just screwed onto the back of the device, and so it was really secure. I'm unsure if having all of this stuff on the back will affect the NFC capability as well, so be sure to keep that in mind. There is also another type of attachment that has been made for this phone, and I think it's actually a really neat system. These are the little interchangeable lenses that you can put onto the bottom camera over the universal cover. This will turn the main 50 megapixel camera into either a fisheye lens if you want to capture slightly different ultra-wide shots that the ultra-wide camera just can't do, or a macro lens if you want to capture things really up close and a bit more detail and quality that the regular lens just can't do. These are really novel, and while the photos captured with these attachments probably don't look nearly as good as other lenses on more professional devices, they do look really nice when compared to the regular camera's attempts at recreating the type of photo that these lenses specialise in. Definitely a nice addition for those that want it. Overall, however, I prefer the customization aspect of the Phone 1. It just felt so more unique in a sense and felt so more lightweight. If you prefer the Phone 2, then, you know, great for you. I just don't like the idea of covering the entire back of the phone just to be able to use something that might fall off when you move your phone to and fro your pocket. It's a cool system, sure, but not as good as the Phone 1. I really do like the lenses though. If they release the universal cover in different colours, like orange, I might be tempted to get one. If you brought a white phone though, you should be good. It does look a lot more natural. Overall, this phone is shaping up to be an absolute belter device that is going to give the other budget options a run for their money. The Phone 1 was enough for me to stop using the S23 Ultra I have that's recording this video, and so I bet the Phone 2 could do the same for those with the iPhone 16 Pro Max or the S25 Ultra. The charm that these devices have is just so fantastically brilliant and pronounced that I can't wait to get my hands on the Phone 2. Well, that's it from me for now. I guess I'll be back in a few days when it arrives, and we can open it together. See you then. Okay, it has been, what is it, the 9th today? Let's have a look-see. Yeah, it is the 9th of May today, so it has been 8 days since I recorded the first section. I'm doing this bit completely unscripted, as you will soon find out, because I am a fucking idiot. And, I mean, I don't know why I'm making such a surprise of it. We all know what's going on right now. It's finally arrived, boys, but that's not it. That's not it. I got these for free because I pre-ordered it. Sick. We got some fucking buds too. Still though, I wanted this video to just be purely on the CMF Phone 2 Pro, and so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do something a little bit weird, but I thought it would be a good indication to see how the packaging and the unboxing experience has changed. So I'm going to just sort of quickly go through what you get in the box with this, and the unboxing experience, and then we're going to get onto this. Okay, so with the Phone 1, as you can see, I got it in the black colour. It's not in black at the moment, but you take it off, and there it is. The phone is just under there. As you can see, I've still got the packaging, or like the wrapper on it, because for some reason I'm weird and I like to keep them as intact as possible for when I inevitably put them back in the box. So, under the phone, we have this little pull tab here, in which, under here, I don't think there is anything. Under here, however, you have your little SIM eject tool, which is this cool little orange thing. Look at that. That's pretty neat, right, huh? It's very unique, and it's got the sort of CMF branding on it. Like, it's a cool little SIM tool. One of the most unique ones I've ever seen. Obviously, the only other thing you have in here, other than the manuals, is this little cable right here. Just a cheap USB, well, I say cheap, it's a pretty good quality USB-C to USB-C cable. But yeah, I mean, I don't use the original cables, I just use the ones I use until they break, and then I have these spare ones. But it's a fairly standard unboxing experience, but I mean, it's a cool one at that. So, if we place everything bar the phone back in the box, we can see that the box is pretty thin. The box on this is actually quite a bit thicker, so I'm interested to see. It's going to be interesting to see what they include in this. Now, before we go over the Phone 2 again, I just want to sort of take a quick look around the Phone 1 and how unique it is. So, like, it is this really, really cool and unique device. Like, I know it's a plastic back, but it is pretty sturdy, all things considered. I have dropped this a healthy amount of times, and I've not broken any of the backs sort of proper or 3D printed. So, I mean, like, it is a sturdy phone. And I mean, you got the cool rotary dial here that just adds a lovely bit of flair to the phone. And the camera bump, which unfortunately is one of the few minor downsides to this phone, because as you can see, it's got a camera bump, but the cameras still sort of rise above it. So if you drop this on the back, the cameras are going to be taking the brunt of the force first. Especially if you, like, rest it down. It's not great. One of the benefits to having that sort of camera bump and this together, though, is that when you have it on, like, a table or whatnot, you don't really get the movement unless you press it on a singular side. Like, with the dial here and the camera bump here, it's fairly sturdy. So yeah, now that I've got the phone fully booted up, you can see that I've obviously got this lovely light green back on it, but I've got this lovely light green wallpaper engine sort of, is it topographic? Am I tripping? I'll put it on screen. But yeah, it's a really unique design. Alright, I will give it this. It is a thoroughly unique design. And even though, like I say, I'm recording this on an S23 Ultra, I will still go back and use this, even though I have one of these now as well. Like, this is still an incredible phone. And if you want an experience like this, but don't want to pay more, this will do fine. Still, though, I am very, very excited to get into this. I've been waiting about, 11 days for this. I ordered this on the 28th of April, so it's been a little while. And so we've got our lovely sharp knife here, and we're just going to make a slight incision in the top. Smooth as butter. Doesn't look like there's one on the other side, so we'll just stick with this. And then, if we can pop this out, ooh. It's a downside to these gloves. I can't really grip things well. Interesting. Oh, that's, different. I didn't expect that. Welcome to nothing. I mean, it's basically a nothing phone. Okay, so I'm imagining, like, manuals and whatnot will be in this box. But this is the phone itself, and Woohoo! Look at that. That is a beauty. Come on. This isn't exactly the most thrilling way of opening a phone, I am aware. But preservation is way more important. Oh, look at that. That is a sexy phone. Okay, so the first thing I notice when I take this phone out is that the rotary dial here is very flush with the rest of the back of the phone, whereas on the phone 1, I think it was actually more unique having it stick out a bit. So that does mean that when I put it down, you're going to have a bit more shaking on every corner because of the now extended sort of camera bump. But even still, this is a very sexy looking phone. And the orange is, Jesus Christ, I didn't think it would look great, but in person it looks fantastic. Okay, so putting this to one side, let's, so what we've got are, ooh, that's a very boxy sort of Type-C to Type-C cable. Oh, it's even got like a little nothing branding on it, that's quite cool. Same with the other side as well. I believe that this sort of boxy design is quite in at the moment. And I mean, I actually quite like it. It's the same with the Type-C to Type-C cable I got with my PS5, and so I very much like that. So this is a welcome design, and having a white one as well as a black one that I now use with that is decent. And then I already know that familiar orange sheen under here. Yeah, there she is. There is our very unique looking SIM tool. So that's pretty much the exact same as the phone 1. I want to say it's extended a little bit. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's still the same sort of thing. I do see the manuals under there though, so I'm going to take a quick look. I don't know if this is just a spacer or something. It feels like there is something. No fucking way, dude! Is this a case? Holy shit! It's a little egg bag for the phone. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really neat, actually. Oh, I like that. Oh, it's even got little things for the camera bump. That's cool. So yeah, now the cameras don't just like stick out. That's actually quite neat. I quite like that. I mean, I'm not going to use it because I like using my phones naked. That's not me being naked, that's the phone's naked, of course. That is actually a really cool addition, and you know what? Well done. Well done for including that. You know, I've watched reviews on this phone, but it's quite hard to watch the reviews and then like stay away from the whole unboxing aspect. You know, it's quite hard to avoid that. But yeah, I mean, for a first impression, top notch. Let's get this bad boy on, see if we can find anything. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't know if you can see that as well. Like, on the camera bump, there's obviously... Well, on the front camera, there's a built-in screen protector on this. Nice job. So, putting everything we have, bar the phone, obviously, back in the box for a moment, we will just get the phone set up and ready to go. Honestly, though, for an unboxing experience, that was actually really nice. I quite like that. I just want to check quickly. So I use my CMF Buds 2 Pro almost daily. Let's just... Yeah. I mean, I want to say the shade is a little bit different. It could be the finish on this, because this is a bit more glossy in a sense, whereas this is a lot more matte. So I don't know if it's just the finish, but yeah, that looks obviously fairly similar. We will get on to the buds, by the way, so I will sort of compare those. I do notice that when I was typing in my Wi-Fi password, that the sort of haptic feedback you get when typing is a little bit weak. I don't know if that's by design, but I think it actually works quite well. I like the haptic feedback. I know a lot of people tend to turn it off, but I actually quite like the way it feels. It feels not strong to the point where it's putting you off, but it's noticeable to the point where I'm getting like a tactile feedback whenever I'm typing. So yeah, personally, that's quite good. So yeah, you can change, a bit like you can with the Nothing phones and the CMF Phone 1, you can sort of change the theme to be default Android, sort of the thing you might see on like a Google Pixel, or you can go with what I've gone with, the sort of Nothing theme. So it's quite neat, actually, the customization they give you right out of the box. Why does that work? You know, I'm just trying to change some settings, but my fingerprint works through. Is it because I'm like pressed right up against the glove, it can read under it? I mean, fair enough. Okay, so I've taken a bit of time to sort of customize the phone. As you can see, I've got this absolutely horrible orange background. Like, I mean, it's a bit garish, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change it to something a little similar quickly. Okay, so now that I've changed the overall theme to sort of fit the color on the back of the phone, let's just compare the two devices quickly. So, I mean, from the outside, this looks sort of similar. I mean, you can obviously tell it's different. So with this, the Phone 1, it's got a very sort of boxy, sharp style, which can dig into your hands a little bit. It's one of my main complaints with the S23, or like the 2, 3, and 4 Ultras, is that they're very square, boxy at the bottom, especially like the S24 Ultra with its more boxy design. But this one has changed a bit. The Phone 2, as you can see, it's a little more curved on the outside now, so it's going to sit in your hands a bit easier. Also, with the dial here, that might dig into your hands a bit. You might actually get caught on that. Sometimes I've accidentally lost the dial for like a few minutes because I keep rubbing against it and it keeps sort of unscrewing itself until it just falls off. Bit annoying, but you know, I think that's sort of really been improved on this with the fact that it's now flush with the back, so that is a very welcome addition. The cameras, as you can see, look quite different, whereas with the Phone 1, it obviously has its own dedicated camera bump. With the change on the Phone 2, with the extra camera, I can imagine they've obviously chosen a bit of a different design. So now each camera individually has its own little bump, and most importantly, the bump is ever so slightly, like 0.5 millimeter thicker than the camera lens itself. So when you drop that, it is going to hit the camera bump a lot more than it will the camera, obviously. So that is a very good change in my opinion. Very, very good. I mean, the overall sort of back design, especially with like the screws and whatnot, the placement's been changed ever so slightly. I don't know if I think it's because this phone is like a millimeter bigger up here. Like, it looks fairly even, but also when I look at the top, it doesn't. What the fuck have I just triggered? I have noticed as well, I don't know if this is a thing on the orange skin on the Phone 1, but the buttons on this are sort of chromed, like on either side, but on the Phone 2, they sort of fit the overall aesthetic now, so they fit the back. The one thing I did notice is that the essential key is a bit more glossy than the matte power and volume rockers, so that's I mean, an interesting design at least. It makes it stick out a bit more. So, taking a look at both phones right now, I mean, I've turned them up to max brightness, and I don't know if it'll come through on camera. I can't really see all that well, but the Phone 2 is definitely brighter. Like, way, way brighter. I can definitely see. Somehow, I'm looking at a solid white image, but there's more detail in it than in this phone than there is in this one. Like, this is good, don't get me wrong, it's good, but it doesn't hold a candle to this. Also, as I mentioned in the earlier part of this video, as you can see, the bezel on the bottom is now a lot thinner than the bezel on the bottom on the Phone 1, because they've actually evened it out on the Phone 2. They've made it so the whole screen is just even bezel, instead of having a slightly bigger bottom bezel on the Phone 1. You can't really notice it unless you're looking directly at it on the Phone 1, which, you know, isn't something a lot of people do, but I know you look at the screen the whole time, and it's one of those things that once you see it, you can't really unsee it. But it's serviceable on the Phone 1. Like, it's absolutely fine. The Phone 2 does have, like, a better screen, though, I would say so. I mean, I don't know if it's the screen protector, though, but it does sort of destroy the viewing angle a little bit, so I don't know if it'll come through on camera, but on the Phone 1, like, when I have it down, so I'm looking sort of at them at an angle, the Phone 1 looks brighter than the Phone 2, but it also has this sort of sheen on it, which is a bit strange. I don't know, it's like a sort of, you know when you see a puddle of, well, I say a puddle, like leftover oil in the road that's dried up and it has that sort of rainbowy sheen on it. The Phone 1 has this sort of thing. I don't know if that's just a side effect of the screen or something, but it does. I mean, it's not really that bad, like it goes away once you look directly at it. But the Phone 2 doesn't really have that. Again, that could be the screen protector, it could be a slightly better screen, it could be the different screen glass that they use. But yeah, it is ever so slightly different. But overall, like I say, is this something you're really going to notice? Like, you're not really going to see that. You're not buying a phone so you can look at it from different viewing angles and think, well, that's got a rainbow thing on it, I don't want to buy this. Taking a look at the exterior of both devices, it is clear that the Phone 2 does sort of feel and look thinner. So if I hold them up, like this. Oh, I'll tell you what, actually, if I hold them together like this, like the Phone 2 is definitely just a little bit thinner. I want to say, I don't even know how much it'd be thinner by, but it's noticeable at the very best. Like it's a good addition, obviously, and it does make the phone feel a lot more premium, but it's not that noticeable. Like, this phone is still incredibly thin for what it is. I actually don't think it's that thin, but I think it's mainly because with the different brightly colored backs and the fact that the screen sticks out a little bit, the back feels thinner than it actually is, which I think was actually a really, really good sort of accident, or if this was intentional, a really, really good decision choice. So, well done for them on the Phone, like, 1. And they've done a sort of similar thing on the Phone 2. As you can see, the screen sticks out a bit, and so the back is clearly thinner. So again, very, very good choice. I think it gives it a really premium look. I'll tell you what, I'm excited. Let's have a go with this essential key, shall we? Ooh. Ooh. Okay. How do I, like, use this properly?
Oh, I can see the fucking wall stove, mate. This is fucking elite, son.
So, oh, I can see the fucking wall, so my dish is fucking alone, son. Ho. Yeah, that is exactly what I said, clearly. I don't really know how this essential key is gonna work, if I'm honest. Like, it might be one of those that I need to sort of look later and sort of learn about it properly, but it is weird. It's a cool addition, sure, but like, it's still weird. So I mean, it's a weird one. It's a strange one, I'll be honest. Like, I don't really know how to use it from the get-go. I don't know. It's weird. I'll figure it out, obviously, but I mean, it's a cool thing. I mean, in practice, I think it's going to be a bit hard to get used to. But again, I don't think this phone is sort of for the old person that doesn't know what they're doing with a mobile device. If you're someone like that, get an iPhone. They're quite accessible, to be honest. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about those devices. Like, what you see is what you get. Like, you know what you're doing with them. But with something like this, with a bit more of a gimmick to it, this is definitely for more the tech enthusiast like myself, who's on a budget, you know. So, I mean, it's cool, and it's going to take me some getting used to, but I mean, at the end of the day, it is just a gimmick. I mean, I wonder if it performs similar to the button, like the other button that's on an iPhone, like the iPhone 16, that I've heard a couple of people refer to as just the Shazam button, because that's what it's used for them. So, I mean, we'll find out. Still, though, honestly, there's not much more I can say about this phone. Like, it is a really cool device. Like, if you are someone that likes gimmicks and design, you can't go wrong with this. But then again, you also can't go wrong with this. I know this is better, like, it's more powerful. It's going to obviously have a slightly newer battery if you had one of these, so you're going to get more power out of it. It's going to have another year of both Android and security updates. It is a more modern phone. It's got obviously a slightly bigger screen. It's going to have more gaming power and whatnot. All of this cool stuff. But this also has most of that. And this is going to be good for another couple of years with like Android updates. And another 5 with security updates. So if you don't care that much about updating your phone, but want a cool device that's really cheap, get one of these. This is still a solid phone. And like I say, I will go back and use this, even now. But if you like the sort of device that you don't really have to bother changing the back on, obviously, so if you like a regular device but with a bit more design from the get-go, with also that essential space key, if you really like the idea of that, this is your best bet. Honestly, I would watch a couple of like comparison videos between the Phone 1 and the Phone 2. People out there are going to be way more qualified to talk about this than me, and so I wouldn't listen to me about sort of what one you should get over the other. Like, I'm going to be biased because I like the whole nothing CMF brand, but honestly, have a look around, see what fits your specific preferences better, and then go from there. That's the best advice I can give you. But I mean, they're going to be similar. It's down to the smaller things, really. Before we end this video, however, you may remember me at the beginning of this segment getting some brand new free earbuds. Now, with the release of the Phone 2, they have actually released 3 new sets of earbuds. So the ones I have here that are open are the CMF Buds Pro 2. So they had the CMF Buds Pro, and then they had the Buds Pro 2. So they're not the Buds 2 Pro, they're the first generation of Pro Buds, but the second generation of Pro, if that makes it. It's confusing, I know, it is really confusing. But still, I love these things, and they are actually really solid earphones for the price. I paid about, what, 59 quid for these? Worth every penny. You've got active noise cancelling, you've got like transparency, spatial audio, different audio profiles. Like, they are solid earphones, and obviously I got them in the nice orange colour. 1, because it looks nice, and 2, whenever I lose them, they're bright enough that I can see them about a mile away, so I can always find them. Obviously as well, they have this cool little dial that you can bind for, I don't know, volume up and down. It's also a button, so you can play pause or double tap to like skip a song, or triple tap to, you know, rewind a song. It's fairly feature heavy for the price. So when they released their Buds 2 series, I was actually quite surprised, considering they released the Buds Pro, I think the initial ones, before the Phone 1 was even released. So I thought they would do like a Buds 2 thing for when the Phone 1 came out. But I imagine they didn't really want to do that with the Phone 1, then you had the Buds 2. But yeah, it's weird. They did the same with the Watch, because this is the Watch Pro 2. So, you know, this is the first generation watch, but the second Pro first generation. It's, like I say, it is confusing. Still though, with the pre-order of the Phone 2, I managed to get these earbuds free of charge added on. And what, they're about 40 quid? Like 39.99, which, honestly, pretty solid. I mean, from the get-go, the design is pretty similar. I have seen like a couple of reviews of the Buds 2 and the Buds 2 Plus, and then there is another one, I think. I can't remember what they are. I don't know if it's the Buds 2 Pro. Ah, shit. One thing I didn't want to bloody do. But yes, I mean, looking at it, the design is fairly similar. Like, I know I've got these in a different colour. They didn't actually have an orange colour available for these. I think it was just, it was either blue or grey. And I thought out of the two, I would prefer the regular grey one, so I just went with them. As far as I'm aware, this dial isn't actually functional. As you can see, it's got like a little thing here for if you want to attach, I don't know, like a small lanyard or a bit of string on. If, you know, you can put them around your neck or in your pocket or whatever, you can just grab them out from the thing. Like, it's useful. I actually have, this might be a bit controversial for these, but I actually like completely disconnected this dial from any function whatsoever. I just have it as a little fidget toy, so if they're in my pocket, I noticed I kept knocking them in my pocket a lot, and it would just turn the volume up or down, which, if I'm trying to talk to someone, quite annoying, and it's distracting. So I got rid of all function, and sometimes I just sit with them in my hand and just do that. Keeps me regulated, you know, it's solid. And so having something similar on this, where it's nice and smooth, it's not got any notches in it, it's decent, you know, I quite like it. Also, it's got this sort of concave design. I don't know if that's the right word. I think it's concave or convex, one of the two. Where, you know, it's slightly dipped in. And I think that actually looks fairly nice, all things considered. It's also more of a very, very plasticky add-on, whereas this one is plastic, but it feels a bit more premium. But, I mean, what, for like 40 quid, can you really complain? You're getting all the features on this. Like, these are basically very similar, except I think the battery on these is actually a bit longer or a bit bigger. But these are definitely better for the audio quality from what I've heard. Yeah, fairly similar. I think the Buds 2 are ever so slightly thinner. I don't know if you can see that. They're, you know, they're very, very similar, the same size, but like, it's not going to make a difference when they're in your pocket, is it? It's really not going to make a difference. Unfortunately, I can't actually open these earbuds up because, I mean, I'll put a picture on screen right now for you to sort of see what they look like, but I can't actually open them up because they try to connect to the phone that I'm recording this on, even though Bluetooth is off, mind you, and it just stops the recording, so it's really fucking annoying. They look really similar. So similar, in fact, to the point where you could probably interchange them over. Like, I don't think it'll work, I don't think they'll charge properly, but, I mean, you could do that. Like, they are basically the same sort of thing. I don't know if the Buds 2 Plus and the, like, the Buds 2 Pro, whatever they're called, are, better than these, but I know that the base buds, which is what these are, they're about 20 quid cheaper than these, and they are worse, but they'll be decent as spares. Honestly, I'm quite looking forward to having a spare set of earbuds in the case that these blow up, which, knowing my luck with earbuds, they will most likely definitely do. Even still, though, you know, we've been over a decent amount today. We've been over the Phone 2 specs, we've been over how it looks against the Phone 1, we've been over the Buds 2 Pro, or the Buds Pro 2, sorry, and the Buds 2, so, you know, there's a lot going on here. They've got a new phone and new buds. You know, there's a lot to look forward to. I can imagine that they'll probably do a new watch at some point soon as well. But for the time being, if you're in the market for a cheap phone and cheap buds that feel premium, no better place to look. But if you're looking for something even slightly cheaper, but you don't care if it's that worse, but with some slightly different customization features, but it's still really good, these will serve you just fine. What I'm trying to say is that, honestly, as much as I really dislike the fact that they've changed that you can't change the entire back of the phone on the Phone 2, CMF or nothing have done it again. This phone is really premium feeling in the hands, and taking a quick look through it, honestly, really, really cool. Not much different from this, sure, because it's the same software, but still incredibly fun, and I will still thoroughly enjoy using this phone. The S23 Ultra I have right here that I'm recording this on is my daily driver at the moment, but I will be changing that to this, at least for a while, to see how it functions. But, I mean, I've got some other phones coming on the way, you know, that I'm looking forward to sort of testing and using for my own purposes. And I mean, that might take over this, but I don't think so. Like, this is just so unique. I love how this looks, and it's one of those, with my phones, this might sound weird, whenever I'm using them, sometimes I'm in the middle of like a YouTube video, I'll just flip it over, examine it, sort of think, yeah, this looks nice, and then I'll flip it back over and continue what I was doing. This phone will be one of the best phones I can do that for. This thing looks so sexy. It is a beautiful looking device, and I know that the finish is double on this, and it won't be for like the black and the blue and the light green colours, but this is beautiful. This is a fucking lovely looking device, and I can only look forward to the shenanigans that I'm going to get up to this with. But yes, that is all from me. Hopefully you guys went on to enjoy this video. I know it's not exactly the greatest video I've ever made, and it's more of me just taking a look over this new phone, but hopefully if you guys like these products, you know, you might find something useful out of this video that you might go on to make your decision on what one to get. But yes, that's all I am. That's all I'm here for today, people. So if you enjoyed this video, for the 3 people that are still watching, please go ahead and like, subscribe if you enjoyed it. You know, I'm not going to force you to. And I mean, if you didn't enjoy it, then please let me know what I can do to improve. But yes, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye, guys.